Well, at least I made up for it by being slightly funny occasionally. So.
I think you were pretty funny last night. You cracked all four of us up at once.
I don't know what. I don't know why.
Photographic evidence of that.
I'm better at comedy when it's not like just the two of us. I don't know why.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew. Over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with the 90s. We also have a video version of this podcast on YouTube, which can be found at namely90s.com/YouTube. And new, as of last week, we have our very own Patreon page, which can be found at patreon.com/namely90s with a 90s. Hey, how's it going?
Good. Are we going to keep talking in our weird skit voices for the episode?
You know it.
No. Good. I don't know. So last night we recorded a special guest spot on Watching Comics podcast, which dropped last Thursday for you listening on the Monday that this episode came out. And we talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze with the Watching Comics podcast, and late at night with Jake and Mitch, and it probably could have gone for another hour. I'm glad I believe Mitch kind of moderated us through everything there. But those guys are always fun to work with. Seems like we actually come up with funny stuff and fill time. And it's good. It's like we're all pals. Yeah. If you remember, we had them on for our Christmas Day episode of the 12 Days of Christmas specials, where we talked about Batman the Animated Series episode Christmas with the Joker. So
that was a classic.
And they're like, yeah, you guys have to come on. And we finally 5 months later have been on their show. 6 months later.
But yeah. Definitely check it out if you haven't heard it. I almost had seen it, and give them a like, a subscribe, and or share, and or comment or review or something. I think I was doing the YouTube thing.
You were. They don't do a YouTube thing.
Sorry. What do you do with podcasts?
Subscribe and
review.
Leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed it.
Yes.
And of course you enjoyed it because we were on it. But go and check that out. Also, I have a bone to pick with you. I got an air fryer for my birthday. It was a really thoughtful gift. I wasn't expecting presents this year because I believe my family said we're not doing presents since last year. So much to my surprise, an air fryer was shipped to me from Costco. And really thoughtful. One of my aunts sent it, and based on a review from another one of my aunts, and it's like an energy efficient convection oven that doesn't make your house feel like it's on fire. So thoughtful gift, but at the same time, I don't know what to make with it. You said you've been making stuff with your air fryer, and I can't think of a single thing that I can make with it. I've been looking up recipes. They're all like pseudo healthy baked recipes, but take almost as long as I would had I just made them in the oven. Like my counter space is somewhat limited. I have a stand mixer and an Instapot on it right now. I finally just cleared my giant crock pot like off of the counter in the last few months. So now I don't know where to put this air fryer. You said you love yours, so I don't, and I'm at a loss for what to do with mine.
So as a parent, which means a avid consumer of nuggets, it's very useful. Because it's like you buy those. You remember the dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets? Speaking of the 90s,
oh yeah,
that you could buy. Like whenever I make them in my oven, they come out super like wet, and the breading falls off. Even though I do it, one thing I've noticed about any breaded thing you cook from the store is if you actually follow the package instructions, it does not cook all the way.
That's true.
So the air fryer, 12 minutes, no preheating. Pop those puppies in there, crispy, golden brown on the plate, no problem. Versus it takes 12 minutes to preheat an oven, right?
True.
And then they come out gross. So it is good if you do a lot of like prepackaged nuggety things, which you probably don't do as much of.
Not anymore. Like, especially since the pandemic, I've really been trying to cook well.
If nothing else, if you end up like getting leftovers and you have leftover French fries, that's like the only way I've ever found that actually brings them back somewhere close to where they were before.
Do I look like a man who would have leftover French fries?
Roasted vegetables. I've seen roasted broccoli or Brussels sprouts in there. That looked really good. I do chicken wings. You don't even bread them. You wouldn't believe how crispy they come out. Those are really good. There's more things. You're right. Healthy fried things that you want to make without oil. It does get them more crisp than you could get them in the oven. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Now when I make nuggets, chicken nuggets, I like make them from. I will grind the meat, bread them, and then deep fry them myself. So that's the other thing. Wet batter doesn't work because it's not a fryer.
Correct.
It's a convection oven.
Well, some people do a wet chicken nugget batter, and some people do like more of a traditional breaded chicken batter. Which would hold up to that. You're listening to Namely Air Fryers with
Namely Air Fryers. But yeah, no, I think I'm going to try a mozzarella stick recipe where the outside of the mozzarella sticks are wonton wrappers. I guess that'll be like, I don't know. It feels like it's an excuse for me to buy crap and then put crap into my body at a slightly healthier rate. But since I wouldn't have bought it in the first place, I feel like it's more unhealthy, right?
Yeah. Well, again, if you like vegetables, it's a good way to cook those and roast them without having to get your whole oven dirty, which doesn't even make any sense.
Well, and then it's like I had asparagus and I was like, well, those don't fit.
Yeah. You have to get the big one.
I got a 4-quart. And then I, instead of just chopping them into manageable sizes, I then just pan roasted them in the fat of the steak that I had just seared.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. My friend was like, what did you do to get these asparagus so good? And I was like, I just fat. Yeah, I just pan fried it. And like, a little salt and pepper, a little oil, and then just fried it in the rendered beef fat from the steaks. She's like,
that reminds me, I saw some psychopath on like TikTok or something making a steak in a toaster. I was like, no, this is not okay.
Oh, good God. TikTok hacks coming from namely 2020s. Yeah. Wow.
We spent a lot of time on air fryer. I didn't expect that.
Well, I guess I could have asked that of you off the air, but it's been gnawing at me because I perched it on top of my fridge, which is where I also have my slow cooker now, and it's been staring at me, and it's staring at me right now and judging me for not using it. So I don't know. Do you want to share something, or did we go long enough on air fryer?
I don't think we told anyone that after our 1-year anniversary, we were turning into a cooking podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that was awesome. If you haven't checked out our 1-year anniversary, I know it looks very long because it's 4 times the normal length of an episode.
Yeah.
But it really condenses all of the fun that we've had in the last year. So if you're looking for a way to introduce your friends to our show, definitely think about sharing them that episode and not namely air fryers.
Yeah. We'll be sharing some air fryer recipes on our Instagram and Twitter. No, we won't. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah.
What is this episode? May of 1994.
May of 1994. Travel back with me, will you, to May 1994. On the 6th, the Channel Tunnel officially opens, linking England and France. Also on the 6th, Nelson Mandela wins the first post-apartheid election in South Africa, 1994. On the 7th, the painting, The Scream, that's the name of the painting, by Edvard Munch is recovered after being stolen 3 months prior. On the 10th, you know the one with the guy that's like, ah. That's the sound he makes when you look at the painting. On the 10th, Drew Barrymore, 19, files for divorce from Jerry Thomas, 31.
Weird.
Yeah. On the 10th, who lets people get married that young? When they're them to someone that old. On the 10th, John Wayne Gacy, serial killer, 33 confirmed victims, is executed at age 52. On the 12th, Pulp Fiction premieres at the Cannes Film Festival and wins the Palme d'Or award. On the 13th, Johnny Carson has a surprise guest appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman during Letterman's Top 10, which marks his final television appearance. On the 19th, Jackie Kennedy, First Lady of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK, President JFK.
Yes,
passes away. On the 26th, Michael Jackson marries Lisa Marie Presley. On the 25th, which I am aware is before the 26th, Shannon Doherty makes her final appearance as Brenda on Beverly Hills 90210. And on the 27th, Larry King ends his radio show. TV ending in May of 1994. We have on the 19th, In Living Color, which we talked about a few episodes ago. On the 19th as well, LA Law. On the 23rd, we have the ending of Star Trek The Next Generation. And on the 27th, we have the Arsenio Hall show closing out its doors. And over in the box office on the 6th, we have Three Ninjas Kick Back. On the 13th, The Crow. On the 20th, Maverick. And straight to video, we have The Return of Jafar, which was an Aladdin movie. On the 25th, Beverly Hills Cop 3. And on the 27th, the live action Flintstones, starring Andrew's favorite actress, Rosie O'Donnell. On the in the Billboard charts for the third week, number one for the first 2 weeks, returning to number one is The Sign by Ace of Base. Andrew, do you know the song The Sign by the Ace of Base?
I can't say I've heard of it. I'm just kidding. Kidding.
And then for the last 2 weeks and through July, we have I Swear by All for One. Not that country one.
Right.
Number 5 for the third week in May is Bump and Grind by R. Kelly. I
like how it just says bump and grin. I just imagine him grinning.
Wow. Number 12 is Loser by Beck. Number 19 is Don't Turn Around by Ace of Base. Number 21 is What a Man by Salt and Peppa featuring En Vogue. And number 24 is I'll Take You There by General Public.
Have you heard about the Namely 90s Patreon page?
Namely 90s Patreon page? What's that?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. The Namely 90s... Okay, I'm sorry. The Namely 90s Patreon page is at namely90s.com/ No, hold on. It's at patreon.com/namely90s with the 90S.
With the 90S like the numbers and the letter?
You guessed it.
Wow. What can I find there? Things like a $5 per month membership level where you get access to stuff like early access to videos or stuff or something, or like shout outs on the podcast, or like a $10 membership with like a green room or something, with like
for like Jewel,
with actual early access to the podcast, unlike the previous tier. That I just kind of and a $30 level where you could be like awesomely supported by like extra like quality content like this.
Do you use the term quality loosely?
You know it. Oh. Yeah.
What else? You can also give us $1,000 to tell us what to say, or $10,000 to party with us in Vegas.
Wow, I'd love to party with you guys in Vegas if I could afford it, but I'm just a teenager who can't drink.
namely90s.com/patreon.com/namely90s with a 90s.
Thank you for your time.
And a PATREON.
Patreon.
Good enough.
Yeah, that works. And now back to the show. Wow, that was
all of R. Kelly's music titles are creepier when you know that all of them are referring to like underage girls, which is unacceptable.
Specifically that one.
And
we really had some fun in that mid-show break there, didn't we?
Yeah. It's like one of those bad high school sketches they did during lunch to try to sell tickets to the dance or whatever.
Which I assume you had to do being ASB president.
Yes. Like, hey, have you heard about the dance? No. When is it? It's like, oh, God.
Line.
Yeah. Line. That's funny.
Anywhere you want to go? I have a game prepared. And other than that, I have a few talking points. What about you?
It's just one thing earlier when it said you had this point about the channel tunnel opening.
Yes, the first point. I
transposed them and it said Tunnel Channel in my mind. And I was like, wow, what a boring TV network. You're watching the Tunnel Channel. It's like,
it's tucked between BBC 7 and ITV.
No, I saw that. That made me laugh. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think we should start with the Flintstones movie, which was all the rage, if I remember correctly. The film stars John Goodman as Fred Flintstone, Rick Moranis as Barney Rubble, Elizabeth Perkins as Wilma Flintstone, and Rosie O'Donnell as Betty Rubble, along with Kyle MacLachlan as the villainous president of Fred's company, and Halle Berry as his seductive secretary, which I forgot until just this moment, and Elizabeth Taylor in her final theatrical film appearance as Pearl Slag Hoople, Wilma's mother. Do you not remember? Wait, you don't remember this, do you? Are you?
I remember John Goodman being in something like this, but that's about all I remember.
Did you not watch this?
I don't think so. I mean, I might have a long time ago.
Okay. So the B-52s are also in the film, but they do a version of the cartoon Flintstones theme song. It earned almost $342 million worldwide against a $46 million budget, which is a huge success, despite getting negative reviews from critics. It was a little mature for family audiences, but I remember there was like a huge McDonald's tie-in for this, including the Return of the McRib, and something called the Grand Poobah meal, which is the Grand Poobah was something in the Flintstones where I think like a secret society, like the Water Buffalo Society or Freemason, stuff like that. They had a lodge. They wore weird hats. It was interesting. Some McDonald's were renamed Rock Donalds.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yep. But yeah, I I really enjoyed the movie as a kid. I'm pretty sure there were like collectible glasses that you could buy from McDonald's as well that had like, those terrible like collectible glasses that people have from fast food chains, because that was like a way of bringing people in. What am I saying? I think they're kind of fun. Very, very of the time. But yeah, no memory of this at all. It
sounds pretty bad.
No.
Usually I don't agree with critics, but
what was bad was the prequel, The Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas, which was released in 2000.
No.
Yeah, which I think featured some plot where they were trying to get married, and then I don't know. I don't even remember that.
Somehow Rosie O'Donnell as an octopus gave massages to somebody.
Yes.
What does that even mean?
Rosie O'Donnell provided a voice of an octopus who gave massages to the younger versions of Wilma and Betty in the movie, because it's a prequel movie. And an octopus or octopi, or is it octopi? Octopuses.
Multiple octopus.
Multiple octopus is what we've decided on. They have multiple limbs, so they can massage multiple people at the same time.
So stupid. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, just adding rock to everything. Like I like a play on words and a pun, but like that's just just stop.
I saw that it was on HBO Max while I was searching for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. So
Rock B.O. Rock? You mean? Oh wow, I'm so creative.
I
That's literally what they do.
I laughed. Well then, quickly segue into something I know you haven't seen. This is my moment to talk about Star Trek: The Next Generation. We talked about Voyager at one point, I think.
Yeah.
Very early on. But this was the series finale of Star Trek: Next Generation, which kind of pushed Star Trek into a new generation.
The college years.
The college years, basically. But this was my show. This was my Trek. This was my era of Star Trek. So that final episode,
Google it.
Star Trek TNG. Captain Picard is the best. Best captain, bar none. I appreciate Kirk. Whatever. Picard's always better. Picard didn't punch a woman and then kiss her in the same scene. Yeah. It's it's an interesting history, but the final episode was a two-parter called All Good Things, I believe. And it's set in the future, sort of, where an older Picard is like senile and has some sort of disease. But then he's also cognizant enough to realize that he's also traveling through time as the current Captain Picard, and like the Captain Picard from the first episode of the series. And he's like shifting through time. And as the old Captain Picard, no one believes him and thinks he's just a crazy old senile man. And then I don't know. It's a weird, terrible storyline, honestly. That doesn't do much to wrap up the series because they were going into movies after this, just like the old Star Trek series. So it's like they didn't really close out much of the character development. I think Deanna and Riker might have started to get together again. I'm not sure. It's just season 6 and season 7 is where it starts to decline in quality again. But yeah,
as with most shows,
Captain Picard, LeVar Burton as Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge, classic Brent Spiner as Data, Michael Dorn as Worf. It's I will do my own Star Trek: The Next Generation '90s podcast if I have to at some point. Look forward to that. Look forward to that as our additional Patreon offerings. And then I just want to quickly talk about Maverick before we get on to our game. Do you remember Maverick?
Okay, let's go.
Do you remember the movie Maverick?
Oh my gosh, why have I not seen anything? I don't know it.
My dad liked westerns.
It's got Helen Hunt in it, or Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
No,
Jodie Foster.
Sarah Jessica Parker. Wait, no, what?
So Maverick is a 1994 American Western comedy film directed by Richard Donner. He did the Superman movie. Written by blah, blah, blah. Stars Mel Gibson, Jodie Foster, and James Garner. It's based on the 1957 to 62 television series, the same name, which originally starred James Garner. Oh yeah, that's right. So this is actually this film is kind of set up like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where Maverick and his dad, who's also Maverick, kind of have to work together to, I don't know, rob a poker game or something. Let me keep reading. The film stars Gibson as Brett Maverick, a card player and con artist who collects money in order to enter a high stakes poker game. He is joined in his adventure by Annabelle Bransford Foster, another con artist, and Marshall Zane Cooper Garner, a lawman. The supporting cast features Graham Greene, James Colburn, and Alfred Molina, and many other cameo appearances by Western film actors, country music stars, and other actors. I remember watching this. I enjoyed it as a kid because it was a comedy Western. Mel Gibson wasn't a terrible human being, or at least we didn't know he was.
He wasn't at least a blatant anti-Semite.
Yeah. At this point, he had not called an officer sugar teas. He at this point I was like, oh, that's the crazy guy from Lethal Weapon, and the crazy guy who was crazy enough to star in the 3 subsequent sequels, and also Braveheart.
Oh my gosh.
Well, was this pre-Braveheart? I don't know, but by the time I watched it I was like, oh, Braveheart. Anyway, I just thought we should touch on that real quick. If anyone out there remembers Maverick, you could always talk to us about it on our Twitter at Namely90s with the 90s. But I wanted to finish with a game. Do you want to play a game? Do we have time for a game?
Sure.
Okay, this game is called Did This Direct Home Video Disney Sequel Exist? What I've done is I've collected 10 possible direct to home video sequels and spinoffs that Disney released or didn't release. I will read you. Yes?
It either existed or it didn't. It's not like some of them were theatrical releases.
Correct. These all never saw a theater. Unless
either because they didn't exist or because they existed and never saw a theater. Got it.
Exactly. Unless there's some stupid art house that's like, oh, we're going to show Return of Jafar.
Yeah. A 48-seat theater.
Yeah. So this is based off the fact that Return of Jafar was the first direct-to-video sequel released for Disney, and it was originally going to be a cartoon series, but they just turned it into a feature length.
That reminds me, there was that joke from Family Guy where it's like,
Jafar
we now return to Aladdin 8. Jafar needs new glasses. It's just him sitting in like an optometrist chair.
Number 1 or number 2?
Oh, number 2.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite bits as well. But this marked an era of direct-to-DVD sequel or direct-to-home video sequels, VHS sequels at the time, of just terrible, lower quality than expected from the theatrical releases. But they
such
made
as the
money.
Air Buddies franchise.
Exactly. But they made tons of money, which is why it continued for so long. So, and a lot of movies ended up getting trilogies out of this. So we're going to start with Pocahontas 2, Journey to the New World. Pocahontas 2, Journey to the New World is a 1998 direct-to-video sequel to the 1995 Disney film Pocahontas. While the first film dealt with her meeting with John Smith and the arrival of the British settlers in Jamestown, the sequel focuses on Pocahontas' journey to England with John Rolfe to negotiate for peace between the two nations, although her death is omitted from the film's ending. Is this real or fake?
I think it's a real one.
You are correct.
Real.
Congratulations.
Ding.
Ding indeed. Next one up is The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Get it? Released in October 27, 1998, the film centers on Simba and Nala's daughter, Kiara, who falls in love with Kovu, a male rogue lion from a banished pride that was once loyal to Simba's evil uncle Scar. Separated by Simba's prejudice against the banished pride and a vindictive plot planned by Kovu's mother, Zira, Kiara and Kovu struggle to unite their estranged prides and be together. Where the first movie was based off of Hamlet, this one is based off of Romeo and Juliet. Is this real or fake?
It's real.
You're correct. How do you know that one?
Ding. I recognize the name.
Wow, I'm not even going to have to edit in the dings.
I'll let you get through all that first.
That's awesome.
How about the Flintstones?
Wait,
the Rockwell.
Did you say you watched it before?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay. Next up, we have Cinderella 2, Dreams Do Come True. In the royal palace, Cinderella's mice friends Gus and Jacques head to a chamber where the fairy godmother is reading the story of Cinderella to the other mice. Much to their disappointment, Gus and Jack arrive just as she has finished the story. With her help, the mice set off to make a new book to narrate what happens after the happily ever after by stringing 3 segments of stories together into a single narrative. Is this real or fake?
Fake.
And what's your basis for calling it fake?
Just sort of the lack of a release date. There's the first 2 had.
Well, unfortunately, this is real.
Unfortunately, is right.
Uh-huh. All right. So you missed that one, which I don't remember giving you win conditions for this, but I don't know, 8 out of 10.
How many of them are real?
I can't tell you that.
Damn. Okay.
Okay, I'll lower the win conditions to 7 out of 10 then.
Oh no.
Next up is Lion King 1.5. The Lion King 1.5 is a 2004 American animated musical adventure comedy film produced by the Australian branch of Disney Toon Studios and released direct-to-video on February 10th, 2004. As the third installment released in the Lion King media franchise and the final installment in the trilogy, it serves as an origin story for the meerkat warthog duo, Timon and Pumbaa, while the film is also set before, during, and after the events of the original Lion King. Is this real or fake?
It's real. They're all real, aren't they?
Oh, baby. This one is real. You are correct. Ding.
Ding.
All right, next up. Mulan 3. Mulan 3 is a 2006 American direct-to-video animated musical adventure film directed by Daryl Rooney and Lynn Sutherland. This third installment of the Mulan franchise picks up after the marriage of Mulan to General Li Shang in the events of 2004's Mulan 2. The couple, having retired to the country and given birth to a daughter and son, find themselves kidnapped by a cloaked figure, later revealed to be Shen Yu, the bastard offspring of Hun leader Shan Yu from the first film. The movie then follows the antics of son Li Wei and daughter Chen Mulan and an elderly Mushu as they pose as army officers alongside the rescue party sent to recover China's best-known warriors. Is this real or not?
It sounds sort of fake.
I know. Don't they all just sound like terribly fake?
Well, Well, you said someone's name was Lee Wei, and I just thought you were making like you were actually saying it was like leeway, like the word.
No, Li space WEI.
Okay.
His father's name is Li Shang.
Okay.
Li space Shang.
Fake.
You're correct.
Ding.
Might have to bump it back up to 8 out of 10. How'd you guess that this was fake when you decided that they were all real?
Well, because like first of all, the bastard child, like that doesn't seem like it would be from the blurb of a Disney movie.
On Wikipedia.
Well, true.
You know, when I wrote that, I'm like, I shouldn't say bastard child. I should have put illegitimate. I didn't think.
Yeah, well.
All right. Coming off of Mulan 3, we have Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time. Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time is a 2007 American direct-to-video fantasy adventure film directed by Frank Nissen and a screenplay by people I don't care about. It is the second direct-to-video sequel to the 1950 animated film Cinderella and the third and final installment in the Cinderella trilogy. And then the plot I had to pull from something else. Cinderella and the prince, no name, are having a picnic the fairy godmother, Jack and Gus, have prepared for them to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. Meanwhile, Cinderella's stepsister Anastasia and Drizella are bitterly doing Cinderella's old chores. Anastasia wanders off, eventually discovers, I'm just going to paraphrase here, the fairy godmother has dropped her wand, steals the wand, travels back in time, makes it so that Cinderella's glass slipper fits her when tried on, and a branched timeline is formed. Is this real or fake? Oh, and also the mice, Jack and Gus, have to travel back in time and set things right or something.
Sounds real.
Oh, just from my terrible paraphrasing?
Well, you listed people who worked on it, and you said it was the second
I did that
film,
for Mulan, and I said it was the third film.
Okay, fair enough. But it sounded like you read it from Wikipedia, so I'm going with
we already had Cinderella too at one point.
That's yeah.
You are correct. It is real.
Ding.
Also, this is Andrew saying ding, not me editing it in this time.
It's perfect every time.
All right. Next up is Beauty and the Beast, Belle's Magical World. Belle's Magical World is a 1998 direct-to-video animated musical film produced by Walt Disney Television Animation. It was released on February 17th, 1998, and is a sequel to the 1991 Walt Disney Pictures animated feature film Beauty and the Beast, and the third and final installment in the Beauty and the Beast trilogy. The storyline is set within the timeline of the original Beauty and the Beast after Christmas, but before the fight against Gaston. Is this real or fake?
Fake.
And what is your reasoning for that?
It just doesn't seem like enough of a plot to fill a whole movie.
While you are correct that it is not enough to fill a plot of a movie, it did, in fact, fill the plot of 1998.
Okay, all right.
But in the 2003 re-release, they added a fourth segment where it added an additional 22 minutes to its runtime.
Because that's what people wanted, more of that movie.
Yes. So you've missed 2 so far. You can... Are we back to 8 or 7? I think we were on 7.
7.
Okay. So you still have 1 more you can miss. And 3 more to go. Next up, we have Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. The Adventure Begins. Buzz Lightyear Star Command, The Adventure Begins is a 2000 American animated direct-to-video television film produced by Walt Disney Television Animation and Pixar Animation Studios as a co-production using traditional animation. It is a spin-off of Pixar's Toy Story franchise and was released on August 8, 2000. The film later led to a television series called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, which aired on UPN and ABC. from October 2000 to January 2001. Is this real or fake?
Real.
Based off of...
Just sounds like some shameless crap they'd make.
You are correct. Buzz Lightyear Star Command is a real TV series.
Ding.
I think I actually watched that too, because I still enjoyed Toy Story at that time.
Not surprising.
Speaking of Toy Story, we have Woody's Roundup Continues. Woody's Roundup Continues is a 2000 American animated direct-to-video television film produced by Walt Disney Television Animation and Pixar Animation Studios as a co-production using traditional animation. It is a spin-off of Pixar's Toy Story franchise and the show seen in Toy Story 2's backstory for the character of Woody. The film was released as a 2-pack with Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, but did not get picked up to series as it did not generate as much buzz, no pun intended, from me, as the Star Command show. Mostly because I didn't write that. Was this real or fake? Talk me through the process.
I feel like you either had people who liked Woody or people who liked Buzz. But
True,
I kind of wonder if they
Woody.
knew that. Like if I'm sure they had a focus group and knew who was more popular and just went with Buzz. So I'm going to say it was fake.
You are correct. Thought I could get you with that. So you've objectively won, but we still have one left. So for posterity, we have Snow White and the Eight Dwarfs. Snow White and the Eight Dwarfs is a 2000 computer animated sequel to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, directed by Mike Disa and screenplay by Evan Spiliotopoulos. Evan Spiliotopoulos. This film deals mostly with the dwarves' backstories, sparked by Snow White's sister, Rose Red, appearing with her own dwarf, Mary. Rose explains how the dwarfs met and were separated, as well as how the evil queen killed Snow White and Rose Red's father and took the throne, as well as included a story about how Dopey lost his voice upon witnessing the death of his mother. Was this real or fake?
Fake.
Thought process?
Stupid name.
It is, in fact, a stupid name. And fake.
Damn.
You're correct.
Oh, all right. Yes.
Yeah. I
feel like I did pretty well.
You only missed two. One being the real Belle's Magical World, and the other one was... you missed Cinderella 2, Dreams Do Come True.
Yeah, you're right. I've seen none of those as a big shock, I'm sure.
I saw Aladdin 2. I know I've seen Aladdin 2 and 3. I definitely have seen Buzz Lightyear Star Command because I watched the series as well. Patrick Warburton took over as Buzz Lightyear, I believe. That Joe from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or, Elaine's boyfriend from Seinfeld. Oh, that was my camera dying. Goodbye, camera. Hello, camera 2.
Goodbye.
What else? I think I've seen the 2 Lion Kings as well, because I really enjoyed Lion King. But other than that, I don't think I saw most of these. Well, 3 of them were fake, so yeah.
Snow buddies. No, just
what did you think of my plot for Snow White and the Eight Dwarfs? Because that was actually so. Most of that I pulled off of a proposed actual animated sequel, a computer animated sequel, except for the part about Rose Red and her own dwarf. I just wanted to make Snow White and the Eight Dwarfs.
Gosh, that was pretty good. I like that one.
her own dwarf, Mary. I was like trying to think of the perfect dwarf name.
Oh man.
Oh, I think that's it for this episode then.
It sure is.
Any closing thoughts?
No, I'll just try to say more next time.
Well, to be fair, you didn't see anything from this year.
Yeah, I really saw nothing. I was aware of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
We should just make you watch things before the
Flintstones, the Rockwall. Yeah.
If you want to hear Andrew talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze, you can find that on last week's episode of Watching Comics podcast, along with me. He had actually seen that prior to filming, so he's able to talk about it more. And that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you could find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Namely 90s with a 90s, or find our personal accounts at bshwitty and at Namely Andrew, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s. Finally, you can also contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Yabba Dabba Doo, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts at. I'm Brandon, that's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time.
It's about rockin' time this episode's over. Rock.